All right, welcome everybody to
So looking at this first hand, I don't keep it. No 1. There's no 2. I pitch it back.
the winners bracket finals. We've got JNL on the bottom of your screen. We've got Old Rich up at
I look at this hand. There's a 1. There's a 2. I may seem a bit flooded, but the auto tread allows me to get rid of the flood. Now, this mulligan's strategy seems pretty simple, and it's what I end up defaulting to on ladder. But in open deck list, you generally want to attempt to mulligan for units that are sturdy against your opponent's removal. So, for example, if your opponent has ping effects, you would value Snowcrust Yetis over Oni Ronins.
the top. JNL, as I mentioned, is on Skycrag Tandem. Let's play a bunch of 1-drops and 2-drops, and let's go aggro. Old Rich kind of taking the literal exact opposite approach with Combre Ramp. Play a bunch of ramp and play some rats. So this will be a very, I don't know, one side or the other matchup, it feels like.
Yeah, I mean, it's really going to come down to sort of what tools Old Rich has. We sort of talked about it in their last matchup against the Stone Scar deck, where there they sort of really needed the big high-end things, and here it's going to be a lot more about the Defiances, the Just Desserts, the Equalizes, like really the cheap things that are going to allow them to sort of keep this Skycrag deck at bay. And for JNL, you know, classic Skycrag things. Let's keep the pressure, get the pressure going early, and let's get rolling. And you see, first of all,
turn 1 Builder's Decree.
immediate big difference from last match. Turn 1 Builder's Decree.
Wow.
Oh,
wow. I mean, credit
and then
to
and then JNL top decks the.
So here I don't like putting the auto tread from the Builder's Decree because he already has an answer for the auto tread. He doesn't have an answer for the Amaruk. I probably would have delayed the Amaruk if I was in his position. And the answer in his hand, you can see his hand near the top right, is Just Desserts. In response to my auto tread attacking or using its ability, he would Just Desserts. But versus the Amaruk, I'm assumedly going to play it with Aegis. It's protected. He gets rewarded for his misplay, in my opinion, and top decks other Builder's Decree, which delays my Amaruk. But I wouldn't play as if I'm drawing a 3 of from my deck, unless if it were my only way to win the game. So I do think hitting the auto tread with the Builder's Decree was a misplay.
Best 1-drop possible? Are you kidding me?
Wow, credit to Old Rich though. Talk about knowing your matchup. How different we saw Old Rich play the last game versus this game. Turn 1, turn 2, Builder's Decrees. That's something you don't see very often. But recognizing the matchup and understanding, you know, open deck, let's help with.
So here I was thinking about pitching the torch or holding it, and they don't play anything that dies to torch, so I just shoot it face to be as power efficient as possible.
JNL just going torch to the face.
Open deck list helped a lot. Skycrag Insignia into Oni Ronin. Yeah, I wonder if this matchup's going to be fast.
True. Good point. All right, well, both those auto treads are opened up here for JNL, so we'll see. This Just Desserts is going to take care of that. But, of course, the Warcry trigger still went off.
So, you see me go very tall in this play. I didn't think he had any spot removal in hand, because if I were in his seat and I had a Defiance, I would have limited the Oni Ronin to 1 Warcry trigger and Defiance instead of Builder's Decreeing. He valued slowing down the Amaruk instead and Builder's Decreed, which was mana inefficient. I wouldn't have gone for that play. And I know he doesn't have Defiance in hand, and I thought he didn't have Just Desserts in hand. Just Desserts is a 2 of. He plays 1 of them. I go tall because I'm not going to play around the 1 of and a card that I don't think is in his hand.
Discarded the other auto tread and then discarded another power to just make auto tread a 4/4 and ping twice. That is aggressive.
Yep. And speaking of aggressive, how about a League Explorer off the top?
Oh, and because you still get, this is one of my favorite things about the emblems and the Decimate, by the way, is that you still get the power. So is able to Decimate, get the Ice Elemental, and then play both 2-drops. Wow.
When you're playing versus Equalize, the best card in your hand is worse than the best card in the opponent's hand. And Equalize is the AoE I'm playing around. He probably has the influence for it next turn. But I didn't empty my hand here because there are only 2 cards in his deck that I'm scared of him holding at this point. One of them is a Builder's Decree, which he already played 2 of, and the other one is Diana, Faith's Shield. But when you look at his influence in the top left corner, he's off a time, he's off a justice, he won't be able to play it if he only keeps one card. So I'm not going to play around Diana drawing perfect power, and I'm not going to play around a 2 of Builder's Decree. That's why I end up keeping my Ice Elemental. In this case, on average, my Ice Elemental is worth more than the best card he keeps in his hand.
And here's one thing I love about the Skycrag deck. Doesn't draw a lot of cards.
Yep.
Normally equalizes all upside text, but you
Good
can't
point.
play cards from your hand is not going to be that this game.
Equalize.
Oh, I think this was a big error by Old Rich. I'm fortunate to call this out, but like you got to fire off that Builder's Decree first, right? Like there's no way you're holding.
Rip BK. Builder's Decree was one of the cards that I was most scared of. Sorry, man. Misplay on your part here.
On to that.
Yeah.
Oh no, it is. Okay, never mind. So they got a plan. They
All right.
I apologize. This was their plan. They knew what they were doing. They wanted to hold on to Builder's Decree. If you were going to discard it to the Equalize, you definitely fire it off first. That just wasn't their plan.
Bit unlucky for me here, but I'm still in a pretty good position. He has 2 of the cards that I just mentioned I was scared of. Both of them are basically unplayable right now, though, because he drew both of them. So, like, no matter what ended up happening here, I'm in a pretty good position. Unless if he drew Builder's Decree, then Power that gave him both Time and Justice, and then Diana. Or Diana, Perfect Power, Builder's Decree. He has 2 of the good cards in his hand that I'm very scared of, but no power. He got very lucky, but also his luck needed to be just a bit better.
Well, they're not going to fire it off, and then they're going to draw a Diana. But one very important thing about that Diana, look up here to the single time influence. Diana does require 2 time and 4 justice, so that is not a free 4-drop. You definitely have to work to get that 4-drop on time, and Old Rich does not have that second time influence. They are out of time in all senses of the word in this game.
It's definitely short, both in terms of one and they've got maybe one turn to top deck here. If they can't make a good play this turn, that's going to be it. The Seed of Progress, is that enough? It's close, right?
Close. That's going to
and
put
we know
back
who
up
is
to
following.
11.
So the auto trade goes face. It drops down to 10. Diana blocks the 3-2. Everything else, they go down to a virtual.
Let's not talk about this play here. Yeah, I don't know why I was able to execute so many high-level things and then not attack properly. It's probably because in MTG I played a lot of Storm. That means no minion combat. And my minion combat in Hearthstone doesn't transfer here. So SMH my head. Bad player.
4, and then the game kind of keeps on rolling from there.
So
you could also just
kept the Rich alive for a turn, yeah.
Yeah, all right. I like this attack. I think this was good. Next turn, we're going to have a Builder's Decree, though. This is going to be super close.
Gallon Man, thank you for the follow. And Who77, thank you so much.
I mean, everything might matter here. The Combre painting, gaining one
holding
health,
on to that Builder's Decree to make a 6/6 blocker.
And at this point for me, every turn is, oh, do I ping face or do I play the unit? Is the 1 damage now face better than the potential of me swinging in with this unit and getting in its attack's worth? And usually the answer is, oh, I'm going to ping face, especially with this board state where I'm already pretty well set up for a Houndmaster draw. So unless if I'm drawing a Houndmaster or something that gets in more damage than the ping directly, I'm going to ping face with it.
Yeah. I mean, I just sort of assumed we were going to hold on to something else, not the Builder's Decree. But if that was the plan, it made sense for what Old Rich did. We see the invasive species forced to attack.
Well, you talked about the invasive species forced to attack, but then pitching with the auto tread means you just get it back.
That combo is fantastic. I mean, it's not like it's the best thing in the world, but the fact that you sort of like your invasive species never dies is like you're really doing a thing to like take advantage, get rid of one of the biggest drawbacks of the card.
I mean, worst case scenario, JNL can just sit back and ping Old Rich to death. It might take a while. I'm not sure it's going to be able to.
And yeah, I kind of topped that Houndmaster here, which is really good. Because of my misplay with the combat earlier, I really needed to get lucky and draw a Houndmaster or a bunch of burn.
It'd be enough, but
I think we're going to see an attack now, though.
Yeah, look at that Houndmaster. That's going to give you a free 4/4 attacking. So basically going to... Sorry, 4/1, right? It's been updated. Sorry about that. 4/1. You guys are switching things on me.
Perfect blocks by Old Rich. You know, that didn't even work out that great. It got 2 damage through.
Yeah.
But...
All right, Iron Ursa, the draw.
pinging face versus playing the Iron Ursa, I'm going to play the Ursa and play around the top deck sweeper.
Okay, that's a big deal.
So
So
this
by
has
playing that,
stealth. It's overwhelm, reckless, stealth. The 3/2. Can attack again to get the Magma Hound, get an extra 4/1. As you mentioned, just kind of getting in for 2 damage, throwing away a unit to get in 2 damage, but when Old Rich is at 3, it's kind of worth it at this point.
so now we see another equalize. I think, but the Iron Ursa is gonna stop that.
Yeah.
I think Old Rich. Wow, did they want to wait one more turn on the equalize? The Iron Ursa was gonna flip over. I don't know if there's a second hidden unit in JNL's deck.
Yeah, I don't
We're
think
gonna
so.
see face, and I think.
Yeah, and that's enough. Unless Old Rich has anything, they don't. They just have a seat, so this is just going to be lethal. So yeah, that Ursa
Xaxes.
was huge. Counting that equalize, nicely done by JNL.
No, it's just a 3/2.